Moin Moin and welcome to Blockchains Online Live. Today's show is all about NFTs, and some of you might ask what the NFT and what is this NFT? You hear it everywhere, there's a lot of money involved and you don't really know, is it hype, is it just another bluff, is it something that offers real value? And this is what we will talk about today. Before we get started, actually what helps here in many cases is to look at the history, because NFTs are nothing completely new. I mean, there are something new, and for many people, it's mind-blowing what NFTs can do for us and for the art economy, for example. But if we look at the blockchain history, we already have in 2017 something called CryptoKitties, which are basically NFTs. So CryptoKitties are cats or pictures, images of cats. Imaginary cats that you can buy, and then you can pair them and produce new cats. And somebody actually paid $100,000 to buy one of the very first CryptoKitties. In the very beginning, only nerds like me cared, nobody else. And in January 2018, we have developers who actually understand the potential of something like that, and they developed this NFT standard that we're using nowadays. It's called ERC721. It's one of the most used NFT standards. And at this point, mainly developers like me cared. Then we have 2019, 2020, many different things happen in the world, in the blockchain space. The DeFi hype happened. So at the same time, though, we have all the NFT core platforms developing, pushing the newest innovations, and the platforms arise, markets arise, first artists arise. But honestly, nobody cares. This changed completely in February 2021 when an artist called Beeple published his artwork called Every Day's the First 5,000 Days, and he sold this artwork at Christie's, the auction house, for 69 million. Since then, everybody cares and everybody is totally hyped about the space, and people are asking, okay, what's happening next? So what is the very next step? We already reached the high numbers. And now the space seems to go a little crazy and trying all sorts of things. For example, we have an original Banksy burned just to increase the value of the NFT. And of course, the art collectors care. They are suddenly, oh, wow, okay, someone burns an actual Banksy and just the NFT survives. So new debates around what is art and how is ownership of art represented arise from this. And then we have all the whales on Twitter that drop messages like, I have 16 ETH that I want to spend, drop me your NFT, I will buy it. Some of them with very bad taste, some others with very good taste. That's my personal opinion. And then we also have, of course, the entrepreneurs that care about NFTs as a way how we can introduce digital ownership to the mainstream. And the question today is, why should you care? Or who actually should care about all of this? And I'm very happy to have my guest here today. Her name is Irina Karagyaur, and she is the head of ambassadors for Western Europe at Polkadot. She's the co-chair London for the Foundation for International Blockchain and Real Estate Experts. And right now, she's also the head of Metaverse Growth, where she takes care of increasing the network of artists, gamers, and companies at the new blockchain or parachain called Unique Network. Please say hello to the audience, Irina.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here today.
Fantastic. So many people, when they walk into this blockchain space, they hear the crazy numbers and they see, okay, this is super technical, and they think, okay, I would like to participate because it seems like fun. But actually, I'm not a tech guy. I don't have a technical background. And we talked about this already, but you also don't have a technical background, but you're still super deep into the space, like in the core of the space. So would you please just tell us how you came in contact with blockchain and what's your actual background?
Absolutely, Albert. Very exciting story, because actually, yeah, I'm not technical. My education is architecture and urban planning. So it's kind of artistic, but I guess like all my generation, I studied information technology at school, and we kind of all grew up with the internet already, and new technologies and new opportunities that the Web 2 brought to us. I've always been interested in different types of data, and my master's thesis was about Erlang data and discovering dynamics of city using mobile phone data in an aggregated form. So I heard about blockchain back in 2016. So it's when really I got interested in it. So I heard it existed, way before, but I didn't quite, see the ways how I can use it, and also even buying Bitcoin. So like for me, also back in the days, blockchain and Bitcoin was a similar thing, and then smart contracts appeared. So it was kind of a little bit confusing space. And also if you didn't have friends who are developers, because let's face it, initially it's been really developers only and exclusive kind of community and space. So it was even difficult to buy Bitcoin. So even if you wanted to enter the blockchain space, you kind of didn't know how to. But in April 2020, when the lockdown began, I was in London, like all my world business. So I ran Design B2C initially as a interior design studio, actually, because previously I also worked like in architecture, business management consulting, Baker Interiors Group, which is an American furniture company. So I've kind of built close to the world of art, but I saw its limitations, and in the space of design and architecture, it's kind of slow and very, not an innovative industry. We've seen parametrism, parametric architecture emerging back in something like 2005, but still it didn't get that much traction. Like there was not something that you could do and could just join and innovate, and there's no much dynamic in there. So like a lot of my clients during the lockdown who I worked with in the real estate space, as well as in business space, and some of my past clients from the consultancy company, they got in touch, and we all kind of started to brainstorm. So what can we do with this new reality? Because a year ago, it did look like it was really surprising that the world got all quiet and still, and we were all at our homes with, just internet as a tool to reach out to other people, which is kind of a fascinating moment of history to live. And I got in touch with one of my clients who was working on tokenization project, because so they wanted to tokenize property, and I started to dig deeper into tokenization, and then of course blockchain and the ways how you can do it. I actually read a book about blockchain revolution by Don and Alex Tapscott back in 2016 when it was launched. But again, like it sounded like a nice concept, something big, ideology, amazing, but still, how do you apply this to your life and business? There were not many ways to do so. But then last year, when I started to discover who is there in the space, I joined Foundation for International Blockchain and Real Estate Expertise. I got in touch with all the top companies who already had experience in tokenizing assets. So discovered an entire universe of amazing professionals and amazing ways, and mostly ideology and how people wanted to give power back to other people. And then I did a course, an online course, again in collaboration. It's a collaboration between INSEAD Business School and Don and Alex Tapscott of Blockchain Revolution Specialization, and I really recommend you to do this because it's on Coursera. It's an open source. Anyone can do it, and it gave me like an amazing structural understanding. What are the business opportunities in blockchain, and what has been done, and what can be done potentially. And then I discovered Polkadot. And why? Because there is an amazing project called Robonomics. They're building smart cities and Internet of Things on blockchain, which was kind of like my thesis project and my passion for years. And then actually back then, I joined, discovered that there's an ambassador program, and I just applied, and my application went through magically, as I was not even hoping to be on board, because I was like, okay, I'm not a developer, but I'm really, really passionate and I'm really, really curious. So let's just give it a try. And yeah, so that's how the journey began. I met our team that managed the Polkadot ambassador program, Hatch and Dan, and then later on I began meeting other teams that were building on Polkadot. So I actually got to meet developers, and one of the first people I met was Alexander Mitrovic, who is the founder and CEO of Unique Network, which is an NFT platform we're going to talk about a bit later today. And yes, I was just, stunned of the quality of ideas, of the quality of people, of the dynamic of this space, because innovation happens so fast and things move just so quickly. And also in August 2020, DeFi really, boomed, and it became, we may say, kind of mainstream. Yeah, it's really a mix of opportunities that the financial market brought to us, digitization, plus this revolution that is beginning to happen in the banking system and financial system. And even back then, like in September, I began talking about NFTs because I first discovered them, and we were brainstorming in the community and thinking, that probably NFT will be the best way to tokenize properties, actually, instead of securities, because it's just easier. You can store any type of information inside of the NFT. And look now, I mean, with NFTs are sold for millions of dollars, and there's a new community of artists, and it's like the space today is very, very different from what is today, the 12th of May last year. Actually, Polkadot just kind of went, the testing was completed, and a lot of new projects on board is on testnet on Polkadot and Kusama. So really what fascinates me the most about this space is the speed in which things develop and move. So yeah, like being from completely non-technical person with some understanding of technology, because obviously we live in the 21st century, we all use internet, watch YouTube, use social media, and pretty much 50% of our life happens online and on the internet. I went into reading smart contracts, and I even did a course actually on Ivan and Tech Academy on C++, just to sort of understand better how the smart contract looks like. Because when you read all this terminology, like the first thing that happens to you, you get completely lost. And for somebody very visual like myself, it's very important to see how things look like. In what is this smart contract? Yeah, right. How does it look like? So there's so many resources out there. Most of them are for free or really affordable. And when you join the community, it's just kind of you enter this flow, and it just kind of takes you with the speed of light, and you just, once you dive into it, as everybody says, once you dive into this rabbit hole, there's no way out of it. Like you get so excited that your life changes so much that you just don't want to go back to your normal life, to pre-blockchain life, sort of.
Yes, that's a super inspiring actually story that you just told. I mean, with this background that you have in a completely different field, and also how the lockdown actually caught your attention back to blockchain that you discovered before. And I also think even if you're not a developer, it's helpful to actually have a high-level overview of how code is written, how developers think like, to actually better understand how these concepts get translated into code, and also what kind of challenges are involved in translating the real world into code. What I also liked about your story is that you said you need like very practical examples, like you need to get very like you need an image. And this is also what I would like to give our viewers today. So when you discovered the first time Polkadot, how did you actually get your very first dot, the native currency of Polkadot? So how did you manage this? Did somebody send it to you? Did you buy it somewhere? How was your journey in 2020? Or did you even get it before that?
Well, I actually first found XRT, the native token of Robinomics, on an exchange. I think it probably was on Binance or something like that. And then later I discovered DOT, and then later I discovered KSM. Yes, I mean, it also began with my trading journey, because I was running experiments on how to actually invest and what tokens to buy and the market cap. And it was all very new for me last year. So I wasn't, because there are people who have been in the bull run in 2017. So I was just watching some tutorials on trading, but I wouldn't say that I'm a trader myself. I just bought like some amount of, XRT, KSM, and I just hold it. And then in about a couple of months' time, when I saw the price increase, I was absolutely, beyond surprised, because you never expect this kind of things to happen. You have something like 0.25% return on your bank account savings, and then in a space when you actually make 10x, sometimes you can make 100x. You cannot believe these things until you actually see it and you actually do it, and it's in front of you and it happens to your own money. This is something absolutely that is fascinating about this tech and about this space.
Yeah, and this doing is exactly one of the challenges that I see, at least for onboarding this new kind of users who are not developers, who don't have the time diving into deep C++ courses over years and months, who don't have this network of other friends who are developers and know the space very well. And how is actually, and now we can also slowly switch to a unique network without even talking about what it is yet. What are the ways how we can actually enable people like artists who don't necessarily care about the tech to use such an advanced bleeding edge technology? Is it education that is missing, or is it really like we need to develop better applications and the user experience needs to drastically improve?
Yeah, I think you've touched two very important points here, Albert, because actually it's kind of both. We're missing education, because if you are not, taught in school and university anything about investment, anything about new finance, because in practice we have like a parallel DeFi, decentralized finance world existing parallel to the conventional finance world. And really mainly the only way to get to know about it is to watch YouTube, which is kind of a little bit dangerous, because there is a lot of shilling going on and you never know which project is legitimate, and if you need to pay some kind of hidden commissions, and it's not an easy to enter space. Because one thing, if you definitely know the project, development team, and they're doing legitimate things, and you can invest on an early stage, and it's just a small amount of money that you're taking risk on, then it's okay. But when things start growing and it's different money is involved, it's already a risk that you're taking. And if nobody's educating you about it, you never know if you're doing the right move or not. And still there are some platforms that where you can really lose a lot of money if you don't know that you're on that kind of platform. So it's you have to be very, very careful still with the space. So yes, the big challenge is to for people who have let's say weight and respect to, like Don Tapscott, for instance, and I always recommend to listen to his videos, because it's more about high level conversation and really deep understanding of what blockchain is about in first place. But really, in terms of finances and investing, it's really do your own research, and not a financial advice, right? Never. So be very, very careful with that. And second part is that, yes, we need applications to be more user-friendly. So the biggest challenge of blockchain has ever been since, the beginning of time, your user experience, that you open a platform. And even now, if you try a major wallet for Polkadot, which is Polkadot.gs, it's quite complex. It's quite, it's still like you can see blocks building and you can see all the testnet applications on the side. And there are way too many things that a user who just wants to deposit some funds or buy tokens or exchange them, it doesn't need to know all that information. It's just an extra noise that kind of prevents you from good user experience. So there is a lot of work to be done in that space. And Unix Network biggest proposition is that we want to make this experience seamless. So development team and UX UI design team is really working a lot on good user experience, where you don't need to be crypto savvy and you don't need to know anything about crypto. It needs to be working just like any normal website where you go to, you press the one button and with one click you do all you need to do, all the operation you came to do to the website. Otherwise, it's just, it's very complicated still in many cases. But even if you look at our banking applications, there's user experience, I think, is a overall challenge for everything that exists on the internet and even mobile apps. And actually the biggest revolution happened when mobile apps were introduced in iOS applications, because iOS is so kind of graphical and visual and tries to be as user-friendly as possible. But yes, it's both things. Is that we need more content, we need more shows like blockchains where you discuss things and you see people behind projects, because you need to know who is developing it, because I always say people are the most important part of any business, because it comes from your ideas, from creativity, and there's always somebody behind. Somebody invented computers, somebody invented a phone, somebody invents things. And it's always good to know who that person is, because if you're giving your money to the project, you're also in many ways supporting the team behind. So you need to know who's doing these great things.
Now, I just had a discussion with one of my colleagues before the show, and I asked him actually, have you ever bought an NFT? And he answered me, I'm interested. It looks fun, and I understand the basics, but I have no clue where I should buy it. I have no clue how to actually hold it. I have no clue how to properly send it to someone else. And so there is this technical understanding missing. And as you just mentioned, where education will help, of course, and also better UI, UX, and in general applications that hide away the complexity that are introduced with blockchain applications. Because we do this mistake over and over again, especially as developers, that we think, okay, we need to overwhelm the user basically with all kinds of information, because they can check for themselves. Of course you can, if you know what these numbers mean. I mean, you can go to Etherscan, you can look, okay, there is this ERC721 contract, which is basically the standard for most NFTs. And then you can check, for example, numbers like I just did today, like there are 11,000 smart contracts that are using ERC721 roughly. And over these 11,000 smart contracts, there are daily roughly 2,500 transactions. There are more than 1 million actually NFTs that were minted over the last few years. And there are hundreds of thousands of unique addresses that are owning an NFT. This sounds like very impressive numbers, but still, if you ask around, like there are just a handful of people that really do this, first of all, and even less people that understand all of this. So if we want to get very practical, is there already something, a unique network where you could tell and point people to say, hey, go to this web page and there you have your wallet, you can log in and buy something? Or is it something that you are currently working on?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Albert. Actually, yes, it's true that the market is NFT owners are just a small percentage of people and even overall art market, which is exciting actually because there's a lot of space to grow. And with Unique Network, so the idea is that you don't need to use native tokens. So the idea is to sponsor artist transactions, to grow our community, to empower the artists and give you the opportunity to use the platform to mint your NFTs and not need to buy any tokens at all. So we have a white label solution for the gallery. You can set up your gallery. You still need to, we're still working on that bit that you need to connect your wallet. Just so you know, it's spam prevention, it's security kind of thing. But we're working on also changing that a little bit and making it easier for you to not need Polkadot.js wallet extension. But essentially, you just connect your wallet to a platform, and then you face just a normal user interface with few buttons where you can upload your picture, mint your NFT, and store your NFT in a gallery. So you don't need any tokens at all.
I think this is really a killer feature. Like many people don't understand this, because usually when there is a new blockchain, when there is a new parachain in this case, people usually tend to talk about the parachain, about the blockchain in the first place. But people don't care about the underlying technology. Yes, like nerds like me, developers like me, they're like excited about this. But normal users, they want to use the blockchain. And one friction point was and still is like the high gas fees, and in general that you need something like fees that you pay. Like you're not used to this in the Web2 world. So if you're suddenly introduced to something like that, you're first, why should I do this? And then you need to do a lot of research to actually understand why you should do it. So actually sponsoring the creation of NFTs and also giving the users the opportunity, at least for the very first transactions, to enjoy a strategy like freemium is, in my opinion, a very good way to onboard people. And once you have them onboarded, then it's much easier to keep them in the loop, in the ecosystem, because then they are also ready and maybe understand also better why they should spend any fees, because they already had interacted with this blockchain. So they see the advantages by using the blockchain and not by someone telling them about the advantages. And but now we had a very practical introduction to this, but I would still like to step a little back and get a first high-level overview of what Unique is at all. How does it relate to Polkadot, and why do we need a new NFT blockchain or parachain? So what's the reasoning behind all of this?
Yeah, so Unique Network is essentially an NFT parachain, first on Kusama and then on Polkadot. Why NFT? Because really NFT, the founders believe that NFT is the disruptive technology, the type of token that will empower artists, creators, and will enable many more transactions and many more ways in which you can work with tokens. Because what is an NFT? An NFT is a unique token, but it's also a tool for ownership. And when you own something, it is very powerful. So for the first time in history, artists can really own their painting, their music, their sculpture, whatever they decide to do on a blockchain. And also NFTs really gave power and impulse to the digital art world, because just think about it. Before, you create a drawing, you use, I don't know what, Photoshop, you draw it by hand, you save it as a JPEG, PNG, whatever other file that's used for images, and then you send it, or you expose it in a digital gallery in a 2.0, Web 2.0. So how can you prove that it's yours? How can you actually monetize it and prevent copying and prevent people just clicking, and save to my computer and then use it whichever way they want? So NFT, for the first time, is really giving you that power of deciding what do you want to do with your painting. how many times you want to sell it, if you want to sell a fraction of it, if you want to make it refundable, if you want to rent it out. So Unique Network gives all these powerful functionalities and tools for an artist to decide what he wants to do with his artwork, and for collectors as well. If you want to keep it, if you want to rent it, if you want to resell it, for how much you want to resell it, and then you can obviously trace it and see, you know, when it was bought, how many times it was bought, by who, what was the price, because there are many things that are happening in the art market, and probably artists can, you know, say something in the comments about the struggles of the art world. And for instance, if you need to, I know that if you want to exhibit your painting in a gallery, you have to go through a very complex process of verifications and transportation and proving that this painting is really yours, you didn't steal it, you know, and it's just very, very time consuming and paper consuming. And now imagine that you just rent your NFT to a gallery and they expose it on a screen, so you don't actually have to do anything but the right, you know, grant a right of rental in your smart contract, in your token logic, so you can program it, you know, from the very beginning. So there are many ways that you can work with an NFT through smart contracts or through the token logics, which is absolutely exciting, because actually it's up to the artist now to decide what they want to do and how they want to present their art, because it belongs to them. You know, it's your token, and everybody knows that it's your token. So you are free to do what you want to do with it. And NFTs are really pretty much in their infancy right now, because what we're seeing is, you know, just a very plain way that Ethereum enables, so where you definitely literally take a JPEG, mint it, and convert it into an NFT, like it happens with photography. But what Unique Network wants to see is real interactions, and these items, these NFTs, having a life. So say that you create like this NFT painting, and then you actually rent it out to a museum, or you create a fashion item and you use it in a game, or like Consensus just recently opened their metaverse headquarters, and they had a company meeting there, and you know, you could choose your avatar as an employee, you can dress it up the way you want, you can put music there and have a virtual bar, so like after work hangouts. So it is really NFT space that is really about building the metaverse and building the more philosophical sort of level, and the way we're all, you know, the society is progressing in our innovation of digital space. So it's a combination really of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and blockchain. Because imagine you put your Google glasses and you can walk into the metaverse and enter the game, and then you have your items. Because Vitalik Buterin, when he first, you know, thought about these NFTs and the logic, because he lost an item in a video game. So the whole point of owning an asset is that you can actually prove it, you can recover it, and nothing happens to it. You own it and you have it, and it's yours, and it's virtual. And since we already spoke about this today, that a lot of things are happening in the virtual reality. We live in the economy of creators, of, you know, bloggers. Like profession like blogger did not exist, what, 10 years ago, right? So I would imagine that now we will have even a completely new economy of people living and making a living in the metaverse. So having a career in the metaverse, you know, having their virtual workspace or virtual gallery as an artist, or your own music stage, or like, you know, you can run a disco and a DJ set in the metaverse. So it's just like the whole parallel reality. And how that will work is really up to the people and how they will use it. And this is why it is so important from the developer's perspective to make it accessible, because you really want as many creators as possible to be able to enter the space and test it and you know, invent something there. Because if you just keep it, I know, because I also talk to a lot of a lot of developers who like to invent this complex terminology, and they're very proud, of being able to create this, which is great. But like, we should not create a barrier and create this as keep it as an elitist sort of space where you can enter only if you know how to code, or only if you know how to use super complex interface. So it's really, we need to make friends here, with creators, with normal users like myself, because my first experience with blockchain was just like, oh my God. I remember, like, it was very painful when I first used Coinbase and my money just got stuck somewhere in the air for 3 days. I was panicking, calling my bank, like, what happened? Because since you're dealing with crypto and not fiat currencies, you have this perception that maybe it's not a real bank, that which is Coinbase has a banking license. So it is actually just like a bank. You can recall your funds and things. So
yeah. So one of my favorite insights by Vitalik Buterin about blockchain is what this blockchain technology actually does. It does not render the workers obsolete as many other technologies do, but it actually, how he says, renders the center obsolete. So now platforms like Spotify, Netflix, Amazon, YouTube, and so on, they are not needed anymore, but actually the creators, the content creators, artists, musicians, and so on, they are empowered. But empowering through a technology happens on two sides. So first of all, we have the technology itself, as we just mentioned, for example, with the unique network. But at the same time, we also need interfaces. Because if the technology is there, but nobody can actually use it, then it's just as useless as not existing at all. And if you are an artist, a gamer, a musician, a creator, please drop your comments in our chat, and we will happily discuss about this. We will do a very short break, and then we are back, and then we will highlight a few other key aspects of a unique network. And see you in a minute.
Who owns your data? Who owns your money? Your future. We are approaching a new dawn. Blockchain technology. Artificial intelligence. Sustainability. Part of the evolution. Hamburg, Germany, 2021. Blockchains, 2021.
So welcome back. So we will talk more about the unique network. If you're interested in what we're doing here at Blockchains and you want to also participate in other debates that we are having here in discussions, please register for our newsletter. You can find this on our webpage. You can also see a link here. You can also visit our Telegram or follow us on Twitter. And now let's get back to the unique network, because there are many more actually novelties about this blockchain. And it's not so much that you are introducing something completely new like other blockchains like sharding and super technical stuff that actually helps with, for example, scaling. But what you are actually focused on is really providing new opportunities to utilize NFTs. So to utilize the full spectrum, let's say. And therefore, you launched your very first version on Kusama, and this network is very well known for actually its chaos, and I mean this in a very positive sense, because what it allows is to try out new ideas. And this is perfect for such a creative space like the NFTs, where we have the artists, the musicians, and so on. So where people can just really try out and see what works, what does not work, what kind of new ways can we introduce when we have something like an NFT. And one thing that really excites me about the Unique Network is actually the collection management, as you name it, because this makes it so much easier to actually create new kind of NFTs, not just for people like artists, but also for D-app developers and markets and so on, who can actually finally have something out of box. I mean, you can do similar things on Ethereum and so on if you develop everything on your own, but this is out of box actually, that it allows you to try new business ideas. Could you maybe walk us through these novelties or these packages out there? So what was actually the motivation? Why did you create this? Are there developers who actually said, oh, we need this? Or did you just observe the market and saw this? And also, what are these features, if you can walk us through this?
Yeah, so firstly, of course, like it is scalable. So we're taking all the advantages of Polkadot and Kusama and everything that Substrate framework offers for development, and you will get the same security on Unique as you get on any other parachain because of its connection to relay chain and the logics of the whole architecture. But really, it is about also interoperability. So we can connect to any exchange, so like DeFi wise, right? It's very important that you can actually trade your NFTs, and connection is seamless to DeFi hubs on Ethereum, because we have this we've developed a way to do it, and logic's very similar to Ethereum, so we're very much compatible to any exchange. And for the development team, so the CEO, Alexander, and CTO, Greg, they began this project. They actually won a Hakusama hackathon first. They received 5 grants from Web3 Foundation, which is pretty impressive. And then during the Hakusama, they've created the collection of Substrate Punks as a tribute to the CryptoPunks. And it was just, and they just gave it out as, you know, as an experiment, as a part of a hackathon. So kind of just for fun, while they were developing the logics of, you know, the test nets and things. And then it just got so popular. People began trading them on the secondary market. So it's fun because, you know, you can create so many other things with Substrate Punks. Like you can change their clothes, or you can create them activities. And so this is the whole idea behind Unique. As I mentioned, you need to be able to use these NFTs for something else. So interoperability will be there. Different economic models will be possible. So what I mean by economic models is renting, creating bundles, creating different forms of ownership, the way you want, you know, sell or burn or whatever. That is not possible in Ethereum at the moment. Smart contracts, Inc. smart contract allows more flexibility in, again, in like inputs and actions you want to perform with your NFTs. But I really don't want this conversation today get into these kind of details, because there's all kind of, you know, technically everything is possible. I would put it this way, precisely because Polkadot gave us this opportunity for enabling numerous ways in which you can think of ownership, of assets, of bridging, because again, we will have a bridge between Polkadot and Kusama, so you'll be able to use more, because like what is the major difference is basically Kusama, parachain slot of Kusama is a little more affordable and a little less secure than Polkadot. So in Polkadot, you have much more security, but the slot is much more expensive. And because you need to bid for that, you obviously need to think about your business model and etc. So yeah, you will have like all these advantages on an NFT network, but essentially what is important is how you transfer NFTs, how you mint them. And again, because of our sponsorship program, so we are sponsoring your transaction fees, and even in general, in the future, when the sponsorship program finishes, so we create a system, we'll help as many people as we can to start using Unique Network. Transaction fees will be really, we're talking about cents. We're never talking about, right now, you probably need something like $250 to start minting NFTs on OpenSea or any other platform, which doesn't come across so easily. So until you kind of get burned and you upload your image and you mint it, and then you realize the gas fees, and then maybe you participate in an auction and you sell your painting for, I don't know, maybe your bid price will be like $100, and then to actually take that money out, you have to pay another $100 in a gas fee. So it's completely ridiculous. And if we're talking about complex transactions or multiple transactions, all that doesn't make sense. So the biggest advantage of either Kusama or Polkadot is the micro gas fees. Yeah, and then obviously user-friendly interface, and because we really believe that marketplace, gallery, wallet, NFT wallet is something that's very basic and it's already kind of boring. Just anybody can come in and set it up. So just take your opportunity. If you're an artist, reach out to me. I'll help you get onboarded. But we're waiting for innovation. So I really want to have conversations with artists who have an idea of developing a game complex that needs complex economy, because where we will really see great innovation, I believe, will be gaming space, because games use different items and they tend to create economies and like lending and borrowing and exchange of items inside of the game, or how you take those items outside of the game and you can actually put your token into a DeFi hub, or maybe stake them and then earn interest and then do something else with that interest. It's the whole entire movement that we're yet to see what's happening.
Just maybe to also get the people that are not so technical or so familiar with Polkadot on board, how Polkadot actually operates. We have something like a beacon chain. I mean, you have a different word for this, but this like the Ethereum equivalent, how we call it there. And from there, you can have different parachains. These parachains are usually developed with a toolkit, let's say, that is called Substrate, that actually already involves like the core components, and you can exchange them with the components that you need exactly for your use case. In this case, we have the use case of NFTs. So we can really have an optimized machine. So what actually Ethereum introduced was programs, applications. What Polkadot introduced are basically you can build your own computer. And one of these computers that have been built is the Unique Network. And it's scalable. I did not say it's not scalable. I just meant like the innovation is not the scalability, because this is also already offered through Polkadot. But the innovation here is really focused on the application of NFTs. And you just mentioned, so if you are an artist, for example, or someone who creates games, you are looking for these people. You sold me on the project, but now I really want, as an artist myself, to know, okay, who should I talk to? Because let's say I have an image and I want to actually publish this on Unique Network now, or I have an idea for a game. Is there some program that I can apply for? Is there a community that I can join? Or what's actually the best next step for me as a contributor, as a content creator?
So basically, I'll be your point of contact. So if you really want to have a conversation, search for me on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to have a chat there. We also have Unique Network official Twitter account. Just search for Unique Network. Then the website is still, we are changing some things there, but you can go to GitHub, for instance. That's what the technical people are. Sorry, I always keep on bouncing to the technical side. Or you can join our Telegram group. Unique Network or Substrate Punks. So these are the two communities where we are discussing on Substrate Punks. Usually, like if you're interested in maybe creating something for punks, as I said, like maybe you want to create some items, and we add that to Substrate Punks collection. Otherwise, it's just Unique Network handle on Telegram. Please join the chat. Ask any questions you like. Connect with the founders. Yeah. So these are our main channels at the moment, and yeah, keep an eye because there is more to come.
So we are still super bleeding edge here, right? So this is still quite early. I mean, you already developed the tech. You have like a huge roadmap for you. You're growing your community right now. So if you would describe the current status of Unique Network, it's still like, would you say it's in an alpha phase? It's more like beta, or how would you describe the current status?
So we are on the testnet. We recently migrated to the version testnet 2.0. So you can find us on Polkadot.js Unique Network and the testnet in the list. So if you want to try testnet unique test tokens and how it works in terms of the wallet, because basically NFT wallet will pretty much have that kind of shape at the start, and then we'll work, of course, to make it easier and more approachable with, by the way, if you have any suggestions, I'm always happy also to listen of you know, your experience and how you would like this experience to be like. So yeah, we're pretty much waiting for the Parachains auction and for Parachains to roll out. So the green light from Parity Technologies to basically start onboarding and building mainnet. But bear in mind that if you want even to set up your gallery or your marketplace, you need to do this in advance. So there's no need to wait for the mainnet to go live, because you'd probably want to test some things out. And in development, it just doesn't happen in one click. Minting happens in one click, but if you want to set up a gallery, you'd need to work with UX and UI. You would need to, just like you're doing a website, you know, you would need your logo and you would need some things. But amazing thing is about Unique Network is that it can be done in 1 hour. So if you want to set up, if you have already an idea of how you want your marketplace to look like, we can do this for you in 1 hour. So which is pretty amazing. And then you can test your minting process, you know, adjust your gallery the way you want, and then be ready for the mainnet launch.
Yes, so what you're basically saying, the time is now, right? So don't wait
Exactly.
for something to happen in the future. Don't be also afraid that it's still rather bleeding edge and a little technical. I mean, people like you can also help and translate this into everyday English, let's say, and also especially talk to artists who maybe don't have this tech background. And also what's great about growing community so early is that the community itself will find its language to actually onboard other people. And this is nothing that should wait until something like a mainnet launches, because yeah, once the mainnet is there, nothing will happen if you don't have a community, and it will also not happen overnight. So it's really now where you should actually join projects like Unique Network if you want to contribute, and also don't be afraid of not being the best tech guy or girl. There's no problem. And what I want to know is what is actually the future of, how do you envision the future at Unique Network? So what is, do you have like grand vision in 10 years, how the world will look like? Or is it more like iterative and you are looking just for the very next step? Because you're already making claims how the future will be. And I guess you have also a strong vision of how you want it to be.
Well, can only express my personal opinion, because obviously this is probably the best question for the founders, really the ones who were here at the very beginning, who made this dream come true. And there's still more to come. But I would personally love to see, you know, real innovation and having real metaverse growing and as many artists as possible. And just like in the real world we have performance arts, for instance, you know, I really want to see what can be done in the performance sense or live theatrical performances, if you like. So not only images, which is like great, photography is great, painting is great, but what about music? What kind of innovation can be done with the intellectual property rights for music? Or I want to personally see real estate growing, so like virtual lands that then translate into a real land, or any kind of, the more innovative the better, I would say. So it's hard to say where we're going to be in even a couple of months time, because things are really building really, really quickly, and it's really not really a matter right now of the tech, because as I said, tech wise, nearly anything impossible. But what I really see is that the input from creators is what is really welcomed and desired, because developers think in one way and always think in code and like in reinterpretation. So what I see a lot now happening in the space is a reinterpretation of law on blockchain, because ownership in essence is basically it comes from the Roman law, right? It's the ownership that is written on our legal system. Then I don't know, any copyright. So we are kind of translating those legal terms on the blockchain and emphasizing the rights of the artist and the protecting more the creator rather than a gallery or a museum. And this is another exciting thing that I want to see what museums are going to do with this space. Like, how are they going to use this? How are they going to sort of keep their importance, right? Because right now they're charging fees for exhibitions, and museums are the ones to decide, and curators are the ones to decide who is going to have that space in the gallery. But it's pretty much like with the blogging thing, that once upon a time somebody created a YouTube channel and started to talk about, I don't know, fashion, like Chiara Ferragni, right? And she all of a sudden, became a fashion icon and a voice of the fashion world. And she kind of opened the doors for this whole new movement of fashion bloggers. So now fashion bloggers are more welcome to the catwalks and exclusive parties than, I don't know, journalists maybe, or so there is a competition, there's a new market, there's a new way of delivering information to clients, if you like, to customers, to us. So it's kind of, we have to have this exchange of ideas and a place where we can talk. And I guess Telegram groups at the moment, community groups, Discords are good places for this, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who have many ideas, like creative people. They're like, oh, I want, the sky and earth and this like strange, maybe I want to launch a rocket in the space. I don't know, Elon Musk, let's say hi. But they don't know how. They have never seen a smart contract. They still don't understand how NFT looks like. And then there's a genius developer who actually knows how to code anything and everything, but he has no creative idea of, of this rocket. And then when the two meet together, this is where we see this amazing space and amazing innovation, and that's what everybody would love, like something completely new, because the two genius brains of tech and creativity met together.
Yeah, and this is also what excites me, because especially just as you named it, we have developers who are developing this very exciting tech. And then we also have one of the first applications, which is basically finance. So this also excited a lot of people. This created the hype. This also created this economic voice that the blockchain now has to actually try out completely new ideas. And one of these new ideas are NFTs. So these are the new applications that we're developing right now. And as you just mentioned, like it can be any kind of new idea. Like people can just try out. For example, one idea that I just want to drop here for people to inspire them, hopefully, is what happens if we imagine a community and this community buys a museum in the real world. And now what they do is they just present NFTs there, and they earn money with this in the real world. So suddenly the internet connects to the old world, to the analog world. And this is suddenly possible because we have an internet of value. We still don't fully understand what this means if we talk about the internet of value. We will see this throughout the years with different applications. And finally, we are in a stage where the mainstream is realizing, okay, creativity is also one thing, one application that we can put on the blockchain. And networks like Unique, for example, are enabling this. And I mean, the ideas are already there, right, with Ethereum and so on. But Ethereum has this problem: it's super expensive. You can't even use it because you pay like $200 to create something that might cost just $5 or even less. And so many innovations are actually right now stopped because of these technical limitations. And you're offering a technical solution to this. And hopefully that many other creative people will actually understand this and finally start to use it. And then let's see what happens. Like, this will be super interesting and super exciting. And we are just reached our end here. So I'm very thankful, Irina, that you joined us here and explained us how the Unique network works and what kind of people actually should care about this network, how they can already participate. So once again, I want to repeat, don't wait for the mainnet to launch. You can already build your business, your idea right now. When mainnet is there, then it's it might go crazy. And even before that, I mean, you just mentioned how you actually created Unique network. Like, it was an experiment. People just created the substrate punks. It was a joke, basically, just a hackathon result. And then suddenly we have a network like this. So don't underestimate brainstorming, trying out, experimenting. And if you have any questions, if you need any help, reach out to Irina. She's super approachable. You can reach her on LinkedIn, on Twitter. You can also find her on the webpage. They also have a Telegram group. So I'm very happy that you have been here, and thank you very much. And to the audience, also thank you for the great participation in the chat. And next week, or in 2 weeks, we will actually dive deeper into the tech stack of Polkadot. We have Joe Petrovsky here. He is from the Web3 Foundation, and there we will get quite technical, much more technical than today. But I think this will also be interesting to understand what kind of other opportunities arise through other parachains, because Unique network is just one of them. So there will be even connections between parachains, and something that we can't even imagine right now, what kind of connections will be created there. So I'm really happy. Thanks once more, Irina, and everybody have a great evening.
Thank you, Albert. Thank you, everyone, for joining.